Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing the last week of April and April closeout along with my May setup. So if you want to see how the month ended, I know I only was able to get one video up this month with the first 3 weeks of April, but I figured I would just combine the last few days of April with my May setup. So if you want to see all of that, then just keep on watching. So as you can see, this was actually only 2 days, not a whole week, so not too much to go over in that for April, the last week, and then we'll go ahead and total up all of the categories from each week and see where we landed. So I did have a rather large travel expense, and this is because we pre-booked a lot of our activities for several trips coming up. So we tend to, obviously, like anything that's very popular wherever we're going, we do pre-book tickets for those things because oftentimes they will sell out when it gets closer. There was actually one thing that I was kind of wanting to do that I didn't realize was as popular as it was, and I wasn't able to get tickets. But so this is for like I said, this is for several trips, so that is obviously why it's a little bit larger, and obviously doing it all at once. The good news is we won't have any entertainment or activity expenses on these trips, because our itineraries are pretty packed, so there shouldn't be too much more activity spending. It will just be, food and things like that. So that was what that was. Then miscellaneous, there was just one. Then shopping, there was one. I did buy a dress from Altered State, so that was a little bit expensive at $83.46. Beauty, this was the refund I talked about in my last video. I mentioned that I was returning 2 hair care items that I got during the Sephora VIB sale that did not work for my hair, so that is what that is. And then we had several grocery transactions. And no eating out in these 2 days, so that is very good. So let's go ahead. So beauty was just the one at a credit of $51.36. Shopping was just the one at $83.46. Miscellaneous was just the one at $9.93. Travel $840.17, and then we had grocery $58.95. So then let's see what our total was. So let me add up the positive numbers first. And then we'll remove the refund. So $941.15, which sounds like a lot for 2 days, but obviously again, the travel, that was just combined of everything I pre-booked, like I said. So that is why this week, or these 2 days, is a little bit elevated. Then what I want to do is we're going to add up all of the categories from each week so we can compare to the prior months. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually just use this paper to write down all of the categories. So let's go ahead and we'll start with miscellaneous, since that is the first one written on prior pages. So $106.96 in miscellaneous. I feel like that's decent for an entire month, but still a little bit high for uncategorized spending. Then we'll do grocery, $411.50, not terrible. Then we'll do household, $99.31. Then beauty, with the refund it was $223.40. Then shopping, $107.42. Eating out, $85.69. I am 100% sure this is the lowest I have ever had that since I started tracking. Okay, then car, $50.02. So I guess I only got gas one time in April, which is crazy, but it's probably because I got gas on the last day of March and then in the middle of April, and then I just got gas again, we're now in the beginning of May. So I think it definitely wasn't truly only one for the whole month, but that's just the way the expenses landed. Then pet, $65.58. And then travel. Okay, so here is where all the categories landed. So let's do the grand total. And as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, obviously all of this is not coming from my monthly income. You know, I save a little bit here and there for like shopping and beauty. And then I also, as a line item in my budget, I save for travel, and I do save a significant amount for that. So again, not all of this is coming from just my monthly income. So the total was $1,990.05, which if we remove the travel, $1,149.88, that's really not too bad considering there is, you know, beauty and shopping, which these are more elevated categories. Since I did restock on a bunch of beauty things during the Sephora sale, I restocked on things that I do use all the time. So overall, I'm not too upset with where this landed. So give me 1 second and I'm gonna flip to the yearly pages, but I do need to cover some things. Okay, I know this looks a little crazy, but here we are. So let's go ahead and fill in all of the different comparisons. So grocery was $411.50, which is obviously up from $394.65 in March, but I feel like we are averaging kind of right around that 400 mark. This was obviously a little bit lower, but made up for with the eating out. So $411.50 is not bad. So I think I can reasonably estimate about, like I said, 400 for my grocery expense, which I'm glad to see that even though prices have definitely been creeping up a little bit, that I'm doing well with my shopping to the point where I'm not going too far over this. Then eating out, that's the really exciting one because that was only $85.69, and just look at how different that is from the prior months. January was $327, February $282, March $258, and now we're down to $85.69, and that's without increasing the grocery budget too much. So I feel like that's really, really good. Then we have miscellaneous, which was $106.96. That is down quite a bit from last month, but the 100 range seems like, you know, this has now appeared twice. We had 92 and now we have 106, but obviously miscellaneous, that is like just uncategorized things. And I may have categorized some stuff as miscellaneous last month that maybe could have fit into other categories. I don't really remember and I don't want to go back. Car was $50.02, so that was about half, a little over half of what it was last month. Again, I think this was purely just timing because as you see, I'm usually in that closer to 100 range. Gift, we had nothing this month. I had no major birthday things that cost, you know, no major holidays that needed gifts. Beauty was $223.40, which seems like it's kind of steady other than in January. I did not get any services this month. This was just products, but I know in May I will be definitely getting my pedicure, which I do get like once every, I would say like 6 weeks. I try to go as long as possible. And then in June, I know I have my hair appointment, so those are gonna be 2 services. Then we had household of $99.31. I kind of don't believe that last month was 0, but if you watched my March closeout, I think I just did the one video. Everything got away from me because of sicknesses and injury, like vacation. So I don't have, March is not 100% accurate with what came in or what went out. So I feel like that's not true, but it could have been, because I don't always have to buy household things every single month. Travel was the $840.17, which was up from last month, but again, I pre-booked a lot of things. So pet was $65.58. And then shopping was $107.42. So pet was up this month, but that is because he had to get medication and he had his groom. So obviously it's gonna be up from last month, when I think last month I don't remember what it was. And then shopping was down quite a bit actually. We had $493 in shopping last month, but now it was only $107. So overall, I feel like we did pretty good. Like, it's very interesting to see that a lot of the numbers do stay kind of steady throughout. Like, I think that's interesting now that we have like 4 months of data, even though I know March was a little wonky, but it is nice to see that I feel like going too crazy in any one category. So far, so good. So now let me go ahead and get ready to do the March setup. Like I said, I'm just gonna combine these into one video, especially because I'm already filming this on May 4th. Hopefully we'll get it up on May 5th or 6th. So let me go ahead and get ready to do that. Okay, so here is the calendar spread. We're not gonna need that. And then these are the stickers, are what we're working with. So obviously it is May, springtime, so we do have some cute little florals again, and you know, little truck and bike. I'm really excited for June because that's the month that I have the cactus themed stickers, and I love cactus, like the way they look. So I'm really excited for June. I will say this is not like my favorite of all the ones I got, but I still think it's cute. All right, so let's go ahead and just start adding these. So I usually use these to notate anything that's going to be like an expense in the month, or if I have, you know, if I have a birthday or I have a trip and I want to just, you know, make note that there's something with financial impact, I will use this. Often I don't really fill much in here. Like I said, I don't use this for planning, so there's just really not much that goes here, but we shall leave it. Then let's go ahead and add our days of the week. So I always start my calendar spreads on a Sunday. That one was really bad. I kind of wish these would have been a different color because that just blends, and it would have been kind of nice if it contrasted a little bit, but like I said, this isn't my favorite of the ones I got, but I don't hate it. Again, I kind of wish that contrasted a little more, but I still think it looks cute. Then let's do some decorative elements. All right, and then we can go ahead and add in all of the expenses. So these ones go on the left side, and these are they're like slightly bigger. She has a note there. So let me think. So mortgage and HOA. I think I'm gonna use the blue because there's not a lot of blue or like bright color going on. So I'll probably stick to the blue and the yellow. Okay, then I do have a new expense this month, and that is a Peloton membership. We did actually recently get a used Peloton. I used to do spin during COVID with like an off-brand bike, and then I stopped when I started doing F45 and just kind of got tired of it, and it wasn't the same because I wasn't able to do the same metrics as you could with the Peloton. So they are dirt cheap on Facebook Marketplace, especially when you think about the new price. And so we just used some cash to get that because we do have a home gym. That was not accounted for in my budget because, again, that was like a cash thing and it was a one-off. Probably should have included it, but I don't know, I didn't. I don't actually pay for iCloud right now because I have a gift card that I just let the balance run down, but I do want to note it. Then we have car. I think that's it. It's really funny how sometimes like all of the stuff falls on one side of the calendar. I think this happened last month too, but it was like the opposite side. So I just think that's funny. And then I will go ahead and add the May headers to the 2 budget sheets that I will use. And actually, as I've been using this book this year, I do not think I will be getting it for next year. I really need to think or find a better solution for me because I just don't use a lot of these pages, and even some of the like end of the month pages, like I'm not using this at all. I probably could, but I just don't because I don't know, I don't use this really. You know, I have been using this, and then I've been using this sporadically. I don't use it every time. So I need to start thinking about, obviously there's a lot of months in the year left and I am going to use this through the year, but I do want to think about what my planner system is going to be next year for budgeting. So honestly, I don't even really use these sheets. I do go ahead and write everything down, but I actually use my Google Sheet to handle my actual paycheck budget, and then I have apps on my phone, or an app on my phone. It's like a check register app, and I use that to manage like all my account balances and stuff. I'm sure there's easier apps out there, but this is just what works for me because of how I have my funds like organized. So I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. I am still thinking about it. So really the main thing I need is like the expense tracking, and then maybe like the annual overview, which I could probably, I don't know, just use like a regular notebook for that, but I'm gonna think about it. So anyway, I'll add the month headers to these since I do try to use these. I definitely use the debt one because I do like seeing the progress, even though it's very slow and very sad how much interest goes to the car loan. It really bothers me because I'm literally making like a 2% dent every month. I'm not throwing a ton extra to it, but I just feel like what I am throwing extra is literally pretty much just covering the interest. So it's a little bit like frustrating to see because I hate the loan that I have, and it was my only choice when I had gotten the car, or because I bought out my lease. So it's just been very frustrating. I've debated refinancing, but then part of me is like, is it worth the hassle of doing all that? Because you have to deal with the title stuff and there's fees with that. So I don't know. I'm still debating how I want to manage it because I do still have a couple years on this loan. So it might be worth it to consider some other options, but rates have just not come down enough to where I feel like it's going to be worth it. So we'll see. Anyway, that is it for this closeout and budget setup for May. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know down below what is one of your goals for May. My goal is still continuing to keep my eating out budget low and, you know, continue to eat at home and focus on my fitness goals and things like that. So that is my May ahead. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.